radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. Today's Monday, October 4th, 2021. 276 days into the new year, only 89 days left. Let's do this, man. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Now you guys have seen it. So now you know. It may be a total undisclosed location, but you have seen that it is beautiful. It's great in here. It's great. See, now when you see me look around, you know. Now you get a vibe. Now you get a vibe. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? All right. Now, I've got to get straight to it tonight. I'm going to make a quick announcement for everybody here, but Fade to Black is leaving KGRA, and our last show is scheduled for October 13th. They may pull us down before then. That's the notice that has been sent out from us. October 13th, it's up to them if they want to carry the show through October 13th. We have some other announcements that will be happening very soon, sometime after October 13th, okay? And we will make those announcements. It doesn't really affect our programming here. We are out streaming all around the world on many platforms. But if you want to come and find the show after October 13th, if you can hear me now over at KGRA, I don't know. You can go straight to jimmychurchradio.com. Head straight there. All of our syndication is listed. You can also listen to the show live for free every night over at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, so that announcement has been made. Everything is official. All right, so I got that out of the way. Tonight, we have very special guest. Kevin Day joins us for the first time. Kevin Day is here. Now, we are going to discuss the Nimitz event. We are going to do a very deep dive into this, and I'm very excited to finally have Kevin on the show. He's great. He's an amazing person. And we got all of this lined up. And I will save the kudos for Kevin when he joins the show tomorrow night. Last week we had a caller, Drew, called in and said, hey, I want to come on the show. And this is why. And we ended up talking for 10 or 15 minutes last week. And I stopped everything. I canceled a guest for tomorrow night to make sure that we had this caller on. And it's not just a caller. It's Drew Banke. Drew Banke is here tomorrow night for a full evening of plant medicines and E.T. Yeah. That's tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Grant Cameron is back. We're going to be talking about his new book and a host of other things. It's crazy out there right now. And Grant Cameron joins us. All right, I will be at the Starworks USA UFOs Above and Beyond Conference this November 12th through the 14th in Laughlin, Nevada at the Aquarius Hotel and Casino. With Jacques Vallée, Paul Hynek, Grant Cameron, Colin Andrews, Jaime Maussan, and 10 other amazing speakers. Tickets and info at StarWorksUSA.com. If you're watching this on video, go to the video description box below. The links are right there. Head over to Starworks. We will see you next month in person in Laughlin, Nevada. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox right there on Twitter. Let's get to the breaking news. Facebook is back up. Now, you thought I was going to say Facebook is back down. Facebook is still down. Mark Zuckerberg is facing some major financial consequences. According to Forbes, he lost $6 billion and counting today, as well as his number 5 richest man ranking in the world, as users continue to be a little bit pissed off. And Facebook was down today for 7 hours without an explanation. I think stockholders have some questions. This wasn't some snafu. This was showing how something as big and as techie as Facebook can be taken down. And they were taken down today for 7 hours. All right, a giant 3D printed copy of Michelangelo's famous statue of David displayed at the Expo 2020 in Dubai, which is Expo 2021, by the way, has been caught up in a censorship controversy after organizers obscured David's pee-pee to adhere to strict public nudity laws. The 17-foot replica, manufactured from laser scans of the sculpture and coated with marble dust, was apparently intended to be displayed unobstructed, just like the original masterpiece, which resides at the Accademia Gallery in Florence, Italy. However, the organizers of the international trade event, held over from last year due to the pandemic, hence the name incorrectness, chose to position the Italian pavilion's 5.17 tall, 17-foot statue in a cylindrical glass and stone chamber ranging over 2 levels. And to cover its private parts, you know, David's pee-pee, covered it with a very large stone slab. That's right. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Alicia Silverstone is 44. Will always make the list because of Clueless. One of the greatest movies ever made. Susan Sarandon today is 74. Russell Simmons today is 63. And one of the greats, Triumph drummer Gil Moore today is 68 years old. Gil runs a school now, an audio school, a video school, a recording school, an academy, a college up in Canada. Gil Moore is absolutely amazing. Happy birthday, Gil. On this day in history, OTD. The Soviet Union starts the space age with the launch of its Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite. All right, let's get to the Fader fact. Now, we've all heard these stories, right? We've all heard these stories. Here's your Fader fact. Michael Carroll, an English garbage man, won the UK National Lottery in 2002 for £10 million. That is $25 million in U.S. currency today, in today's money. Well, he lost all of it. He spent all of it. He threw it away. And then 8 years later, reapplied for his old job back as a garbage man. And that is your Fader fact. All right. Tonight on the show, Kevin Day joins us for the first time. And hang on for a second. Why am I texting during the show? Obviously important. Kevin Day joins us tonight for the first time. We are discussing the Nimitz event. Tomorrow night, Drew Banke is here for a late night, for a night of plant medicine and ET. And then Wednesday night, Grant Cameron is here. Got lots of stuff to talk about. We're also going to discuss his new book. And Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, I have got a call. You know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to bring it right in. I've got Lou Elizondo of Plant Medicine. I've got Lou Elizondo on the line from a super secret location. Rumor is he was just texting me that he's out running right now the Men in Black to make sure that he calls in to Fade to Black. How's that going for you, Lou? Did you lose the tail?
Hey, Jimmy, how are you, man? Actually, we're at a truck stop right now, somewhere between. Let's see, where the hell am I? I'm in Missouri somewhere, and I won't tell you why I'm here and how the hell I got here. But yeah, you're right. We're calling you from a fairly remote location. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. And, this is the thing. We've got too much to discuss right now, Lou, and I appreciate you risking life and limb to come on the show tonight. Actually,
I'm sacrificing my beer time, but I'll take that compliment.
Lou, this is the deal. With your past training, do you get to go to driving school? Do you evasive, crazy James Bond driving?
But you know what? They give you 15, and this is no joke. They actually will give you, if you go to like DSR training where we go, they give you like 15% off of your auto insurance. But ironically enough, they should be charging you an extra 15% because what they teach you are really skills that you don't want to use every day in traffic, and you find yourself wanting to use them, whether it's a pit stop or a reverse J turn. So yeah, I haven't quite figured out why they give us that discount. It seems a bit counterproductive to me. They should probably up our premiums, but they don't.
Yeah, you know what? One of my favorite things that they always show, right? Some secret agent outrunning 20 cars. He's driving in reverse, and they always have the shot of the emergency brake grab, right? And the car flips around. Are you one of those guys? Do you grab the emergency brake?
Well, you want to use that when you're moving forward. So when you're going to do a 180, and you come up to, let's say, I should say an ambush, but a whole line of traffic, and you got to turn the other way. Yeah, you want to make sure that emergency brake works good. A lot of people, unfortunately, most of our emergency brakes don't work really well, but in those vehicles they do. They teach all sorts of crazy. I think I burned through probably 3 transmissions and 2 sets of tires in the first day, and those poor cars, they take so much abuse.
Well, I can assure you, I will never go through a McDonald's drive-through with Lou Elizondo. Ain't gonna happen. All right, Lou. For disclosure to the audience, Lou and I have been in touch off and on over the last 4 or 5 days. And we were the first opportunity to get Lou on Fade to Black was tonight. And even as the date, this is a very fluid situation that we're in, and we've got updates happening all of the time. So let's back up, and I want you to take us through the 5 pages, which you briefly you addressed it somewhat on Tucker without saying what the 5 pages were or getting into it. I'm sure Tucker didn't read them. Maybe he did. But what is going on with the UAP task force right now?
Jimmy, honestly, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, this is historic. This is a result of every single person out there that's listening to your broadcast. Those people who got energized and started writing to Congress, it worked. So what you have is this language that was proposed by the House, still being reconciled now with the Senate, which, by the way, the language is very, very similar, that proposes basically 5 basic, it's kind of an obscure 5 pages in the bill, but it's extremely, extremely important. And over the course of, you and I having conversations with your audience, we've always talked about things like, creating a permanent body and working with our international partners and allies. And yes, even the bad word, crash retrievals, material, and biological effects. Well, it's all in those 5 pages. So Congress has listened. Enough people, I suspect, have probably wrote in and called their representatives, where you have this bill, and this bill is about to get passed. And what's in the bill are 5 major points, in my opinion. The first is the dissolution, if you will, of the UAP task force. As we all knew, a task force was a temporary body created to solve a temporary problem. Well, the UAP problem isn't a temporary issue. So Congress has gotten wise, and they have established, they're in the language, a permanent UAP body that is going to go ahead and replace a task force. Furthermore, the second point is that it requires the Secretary of Defense himself or herself in the future, potentially, to report every year annually at a minimum to Congress. So it's not like a 180-day report, a 90-day report from the task force. This is from the Secretary of Defense personally to report to Congress. And in that report, there are several key, I would say probably historic requirements here. The first one is that we have to work with our international partners and allies. Basically, no longer an option. You will work with those individuals who are reaching out to work with you. And it's not just countries. It could also be organizations like NATO or the United Nations. The other really important part here is that it specifically talks about the reporting of any material. I got to be careful what I say, but materials that may have been recovered or in the possession of the United States government. That's huge. Right now, anybody out there who has material in the U.S. government and doesn't report to Congress, you're breaking the law, period, full stop. And then the other requirement is that there has to be a reporting mechanism that allows our pilots who have come up close and personal to a UAP event, if there's any adverse medical consequences, i.e. biological effects, that too has to be reported. Now, people remember the DIRDs, and that there was a DIRD, a DIA report that specifically focused on the, pardon me, it's a little bit loud here, as you can tell, I really am at a truck stop. It requires the reporting of any adverse medical conditions be reported to Congress. That's huge. That's enormous, right? So you now have anybody who's got material in their possession within the government has to report it. Any military members who have, pilots particularly, who have suffered medical consequences as a result, that has to be reported. It also requires us to work with our partners and allies internationally, and of course requires the Secretary of Defense to report directly to Congress every year in a report. So all that is stipulated in 5 little obscure pages within this bill. Mm-hmm. So I think we've really come a long way. And I just came back from DC myself, and there's a lot of people now on the Hill that are having this conversation. There were some headlines recently where you had Congressman Walker come out and say, "Yeah, this is a big deal. This is actually did an interview on Tucker Carlson." You had also some other. You had, I think, Congressman, let me make sure
Adam
Gallegos,
Schiff.
Pronounce it correctly. Yeah, Gallegos come out and say, "Hey, look, yep, this is a big deal. We need to have this reported up." And again, you're talking both Democrats and Republicans working together. This is a bipartisan issue, and they're all agreeing, yeah, this is a national security issue. So it's kind of a big deal in my opinion.
It is a big deal. I hope that I hope that everything is followed through as stated. Let me ask.
Well, this is your job, right?
Well,
so if they don't, this is where you and your audience continue to drive the point home that it must be followed. It's once it gets signed, it's law. So if it's not followed through, someone's breaking the law. So it's up to us to make sure we continue to tell Congress, yes, this is a good thing. Yes, we support this. No, you're not wasting money. Let's try to figure this out.
Now, there's a couple of points here, Lou, that I want to circle back and address because I see everybody's going to read what they want to read, no matter what the words are, right? Okay, all right. But when I read the part about retrieval of, I'm going to paraphrase here, right? Debris of a UAP. Now, they say unidentified aerial phenomena. I see a reason for stating that for two different reasons. One, they must have something. They must have something already in their possession. So now they are making sure that this is directly spoken about, one, and written into law. But two, I see flying saucers, right? I'm using a generic term here. But it sounds like craft, if they are not of this earth, that is what they are addressing here. Do you get that vibe from that statement?
Well, you only have to listen to the Secretary of the Air Force himself, Secretary Kendall. In the most recent article came out by Politico, he says, look, we're not denying that these things aren't real. We know that the phenomenon is real. We've been dealing with it for a long time. Now, here's my rub with what the Secretary says. You have the Secretary of Defense, you now have the Director of National Intelligence, and you have Congress all saying, this is a priority. We need to figure this out. So why is the Secretary of the Air Force dragging his feet saying, you know what? I know it's real. I'm not arguing that, but it's not my priority. And if you look at the article and what he says in his quote, it's because, well, we don't know that, first of all, we don't think it's ours, but we don't know if it's a threat or not. The way I look at that is it's the same as saying, look, there is a submarine that has popped up out of the water somewhere off the East Coast near Washington, D.C. But because it's not ours and, we don't know if it's a threat or not, we're not going to look into it. To me, that is absolute opposite of the intent of what this legislation is trying to push forward. You have a Secretary of the Air Force saying, you know what? Yeah, we know it's real, but it's not our priority right now, despite the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence and now Congress all saying, yes, it is a priority. So my question is, where is the Secretary of Defense getting his direction from and his priorities if it's not from Congress and the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence? Right.
It's such an important point to make. And then there's it's number 4, which directly addresses the health of somebody that may come in contact in close proximity of a UAP. And I go back to, and I just got 4 minutes before the break, Lou. Kevin Day's coming up next. He told me to tell you hello, by the way.
Good man.
Good man. Is this, I go back to Rendlesham and what John Burroughs went through, as you know. Serious health effects that took
and it
years.
Wasn't just John Burroughs, by the way, for the record.
Yes, but it was something that was addressed very directly. And then if you go back to the Condon report out of France, where they mention the effects of high frequency radiation from UAPs that have been reported in the past. Like, they made a direct reference there about this, and certainly, and it may be about John Burroughs, but John specifically had to pursue this and eventually got it done.
Thank God for Senator John McCain,
John
Senator John McCain, because
yes.
he personally took this for action. But, you know, this is a bipartisan issue, whether you're talking about Congressman Gallego or, you know, Congressman Walker or Senator Marco Rubio or Senator Harry Reid. If there was ever any proof that Congress can work together on something, this is a prime example where you have people in elected positions who really are taking this seriously on both sides of the party. And they realize, you know what, this isn't a political issue. This is a humanity issue. And I got to tell you, in the last 3.5, 4 years, I didn't think we would be here this fast. I hoped we would, and we've been working very hard behind the scenes for this day to come. I'm just not sure I expected it to happen quite this fast. But of course, you know, a lot of that is due to people like you and your audience who said, you know what, this is important and we're going to call Congress. It goes to show that the system does work. Yes.
I couldn't agree more with you, Lou. There was one other thing that stood out for me, and that was the press release coming out of Congress where they give a summary of the budget and pushing this through. And they give, 4 or 5, maybe 6 bullet points of the highlights, right, of the spending. And right there, for the first time, this subject was not ignored, and it is spelled out on the front page of the press release, right there, unidentified.
And by the way, with immense political pressure right now on both sides to decrease budget spending, right? And what do? They say, you know what? Yes, we agree. We need to roll back some of our spending, but this is an area that we can't afford to do that. We really need to get to the bottom of this.
Now, Lou, I want you to be safe. I want you to outrun those black SUVs. They know that you're talking to Fade to Black. We'll circle back tomorrow in the next couple of days, but I want to invite you back on the show as soon as possible, probably early next week, where we've got to do the deep dive into this, break it down to everybody so they understand not only how important it is, but they won't have questions. You know, we did something very, very quick tonight, but I want you to be safe out there, Lou. Thank you so much, my friend.
You got it. Will do. And thanks much to you and your incredible audience. As always, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Behave and be well. That's all I got to say, Lou. Okay. Now just get home safe.
10-4.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye. Lou Elizondo from a super secret truck stop somewhere in the Midwest. I think he said Missouri, but I think even that is throwing somebody off of the scent. Thank you so much, Lou. Keep doing what you're doing. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great night. What a great week. What a great way to kick off that week. Coming up next after this short break, Kevin Day is here joining us for the first time. We are going to discuss the Nimitz event. The Princeton, the Nimitz, a Tic-Tac, and a day. We're going to do all of that when we come back after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. with wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2B Blend for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day. And now, before we get to Kevin, I want to take the time to do this for a couple of seconds. Got some really cool birthday gifts today. And Deb from Sacramento sent me the Wayfarer stories, which have the video cameras built in. And you can wear your sunglasses at night and videotape Kevin Day as he's having dinner with me, and he doesn't know it. See, that's what you do. And this was sent to me from Mate Meyer and his family. I don't know if I can get this on the camera, but there it is. It's a Lego Jeep, like the Fade to Black Jeep. This one's yellow. But that was sent in. I want to thank Mate and Anita and of course, Martin for that. And I've got some other stuff, too, as well. We'll save that for later, but I just wanted to get that in. It was a very cool day today to get these kind of surprises
coming to you. Yeah, my birthday is this weekend. But tonight, right here on Fade to Black, Kevin Day joins us for the first time. We're going to do a deep dive into the events on board the USS Princeton and the Nimitz Strike Group back in November 2004 that launched the New York Times December 2017 UFO UAP article that changed the world. Kevin is a retired United States Navy Senior Chief Petty Officer, former operations specialist, and Top Gun Air Intercept controller. He is an expert operator of the highly advanced Spy-1 radar system with years of experience and service aboard AEGIS-equipped ships, including the VINCENNES, the CHOSIN, and the Princeton. Of course, everybody knows that back in November 2004, during a combat training exercise, it was Princeton's Combat Information Center that discovered the fleets of anomalous air contacts, and it was radar operator Kevin Day that directly instructed the pilots to change their course and investigate the unidentified radar spot observed by Princeton's own radar. Tonight, we're going to discuss all of that. We're specifically talking about the Tic-Tac incident. He's also the founder of UAP Expeditions, a nonprofit group of former military officials, Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, university professors, and scientists. He also wrote about all of this in a fictionalized version of the events in a book called Sailor's Anthology. His website is uapexpedition.org. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Kevin Day. Kevin, what is up? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing outstanding. Thank you for the invite, Jimmy. I very much appreciate being on there with you tonight.
Yeah, it's great to finally have you here, Kevin. But you get the first-time guest disclaimer. So let's get that out of the way. Kevin, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. Well, we're already friends, but we will continue to be friends. Let's go that route. And so there you go. You ready?
I'm ready. And speaking of friends, I'd like to give a couple shout outs if it's okay, Jimmy.
It's your show, Kevin. I'm just a guy at a microphone.
Okay, I'd like to say hello to Kimberly Beresford, my girlfriend. She's down in Huntington Beach listening to us live. And I'd like to say hello to the entire UAPX team, who may or may not be listening tonight. Got David Mason, Dr. Kevin Knuth, and Dr. Matthew Zydagis, Christopher Altman, Gary Voorhees, Jason Turner, Michael Hall, and PJ Hughes. Hello, you all.
Yeah, right on. Michael C. Hall, the man. Okay, Kevin, I don't know quite where to start, but I do want to just start, of course, the morning of the incident. But before we get there, let's actually back things up. I want to go back to your childhood really quick, really briefly. Did you have an interest in UFOs growing up? Let's just start there.
I guess I pretty had pretty much of a normal childhood. I didn't have a strong interest, but I was always interested. And in fact, when I was a ski bum living in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, I actually did see a UFO in 1983, in the summer of '83. It was on the July 4th weekend. We were coming back from camping, and my brother-in-law slams on the brakes of the truck and hands me the binoculars. And right there, man, the silver disc is clear as day. I couldn't believe it. And we went home and ate dinner. We didn't make much of it.
And so silver disc, like the classic UFO is what you're saying.
Certainly was, yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Plus metallic color.
Yeah, and that was it?
That was it.
It was
no big deal.
No, I mean...
and I asked when I was working at the... as a custodian at one of the local schools so I could ski in the daytime. I was working there at night. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, you ever seen it? Yeah, we see it all the time. So apparently I'm not the only one that's seen it there.
And this was Jackson Hole up in Wyoming.
Yeah, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You bet.
Yeah, nice place to be a ski bum. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so other than that, though, the UFO world, you weren't a part of it.
No, I wasn't. I mean, I've been a, I wasn't. I've been a fairly regular listener to Coast AM in my, in my adult years and stuff. But I've, pretty normal interest overall in these things. And in fact, I'll hold off on my story and I'll let you lead the way on this.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, well then let's just go to November 2004, because the reason why I'm asking these questions is as the events of the day started to unfold, I'm just wondering if you went back to your history of UFO knowledge and went UFO or possibly ET out of the gate. But if you weren't in the UFO world leading up to this, you were probably taken by surprise is where I'm going.
Absolutely was. It was on or about the 10th of November, several days before the actual event. I and others, the entire strike group, in fact, started picking up these anomalous tracks on our radar system, and we were reporting them on our data links. So all of our data is going back to the beach, of course. So we're not the only one watching these things. And we weren't really worried about them because they were appearing in groups of 5 to 10 off the east coast of Catalina Island, which was way up to the north of us. But they were tracking through our would-be airspace. And at the time this started happening, I didn't have any aircraft aboard the Nimitz, so I wasn't really concerned. In fact, we thought they were something entirely civilian-related. They didn't even know we were there, and we were just simply tracking and reporting them. Until the morning of the 14th, I had a major air defense exercise planned. I was getting ready to fill that entire airspace full of airplanes. The good guys, notional good guys off the Nimitz, the notional bad guys off the beach, and we were going to do a nose-to-nose battle right there in the skies. And that's when I became concerned because these objects were at 28,000 feet tracking south. And they were going to be right in my playground area. And I was like, oh, no. So Captain Smith comes down to combat and says, hey, sir, we've been tracking these objects for several days now. And up until that point, Jimmy, there was like 50 of these things if you counted all the groups together. And I'm gravely concerned about safety of flight. Because if we launch aircraft and we hit one of these things, someone's going to ask both you and I why we were so damn curious about these things. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me, he says, you're right, Sir Chief, intercept and visually ID, VID it. I was like, hell yeah, that's the answer I was looking for. And Fast Eagle flight just happened to be the first one airborne, Commander Fravor. The Hawkeye had control of it, but they didn't have radar. They were the one unit that did not hold radar on these objects. So we took control. And
okay, let me jump in.
I'm standing behind the air intercept controller. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, let me jump in right there really quick. I don't want to get too far ahead of our skis.
Here you go. I get excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. No, I can hold with all of this. I just want the audience to be able to follow through on some of the things that we're going to be talking about. The Hawkeye is a radar plane. That's what the Hawkeye is. So when Kevin knows what a Hawkeye is, I know what a Hawkeye is. You may not. So that's pretty interesting that the Hawkeye, which has got a big radar dish on the top of it, very sophisticated aircraft. But I want to come back to that the Hawkeye didn't have radar on these objects yet. Now with the Princeton specifically and the Nimitz group, you guys we're going to be talking about this all night tonight. The Spy 1 radar system, of which you're an expert on, but there has been conversation about the Spy 1 back then. Was the Spy 1 fully installed on the strike group?
Absolutely was. There were several Spy 1 radars out there with us in the strike group. And not only that, we have a system called Cooperative Engagement Capability, CEC.
Yeah.
And it uses the strike group's diverse and powerful surveillance sensors, including the Spy 1, and including our identification friend or foe systems. And it creates a common fused picture and puts it on the data link. So everyone's looking at the same picture.
Okay, now how new at that time was the Spy 1? And I would say there's probably stuff that we don't know about today, secret technologies, and that's fine. But the Spy 1 is considered the most advanced radar system in the world, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and how new was it at that time?
As far as I know, that's still true today.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as I know, that's still true.
How new at that time was the Spy 1 system?
The first ship came out 1985, I believe. So it's been the system itself has been in the fleet for a long time. Of course, there's been upgrades, over the years, and the system's been improved and improved and improved and improved and improved.
Mm-hmm.
And the first system came out was the Spy 1 Alpha, and when I left the service, it was Spy 1 Delta. So there was 5 variants.
5 variants. Okay, so the Spy 1.
When I left. I'm like,
there has been some chatter out there, Kevin, that I know that you've heard, that the Spy 1 was just installed on the Princeton, and this is a brand new radar system. What is the real facts with that? The Spy 1 was already on the Princeton,
true.
Right?
That's not true. I mean, the ship was built with that radar in place already. Now there has been system upgrades, like I just referred to, and in fact, I didn't know it at the time, but we had just received a system upgrade just prior to our underway. So maybe that's where the confusion lies. It's software upgrades.
Well, were there any issues with the Spy 1 during this time?
No, there wasn't. In fact, the entire time I was tracking these objects, I had the highest quality spy track quality available to us the entire time on these objects.
Okay, so now we've got things established. You're tracking these groups of objects that started out north and west of Catalina Island, or is it east? Well, it couldn't be east. Then that
east, would northeast.
Well, that would be like Marina del Rey.
Yeah, it was right in the channel. Right in the channel where the Channel Islands are.
Okay. Oh, so near Santa Barbara. Yeah. Okay, now I got you. Okay, so, but objects are being tracked on Spy 1. You're on the Princeton. Captain Smith of the Princeton, correct? He comes down to you, authorizes some toe-to-toe action. You guys are going to go and do a visual on these objects. First off the deck of the Nimitz is Captain Fravor.
That's correct. In the Fast Eagle flight, we take control. I'm standing on a headset like I'm wearing now, directly behind the guy at the console, is the air intercept controller. Right now, I'm in a supervisory position, so I'm monitoring all the comms and keeping the front table where the captain is informed of everything that's going on and moving back and forth. So he takes control of Fast Eagle. We vector him up north, and the most unbelievable thing happened. As soon as Fast Eagle was at the merge plot position, which is basically 2 objects in the same vertical piece of sky, and when I look at it on a display, on a 2-dimensional display, it looks like they're merged. They're on top of each other.
Right.
As soon as he's at the merge plot, this object, whatever it was, went from 28,000 feet all the way down to the surface of the ocean, and what I found out later the next day, in 0.78 seconds, Jimmy.
Okay.
No sonic booms.
Okay, so 28,000 feet, 0.78 seconds. That is approximately 5 miles in over a half a second. Okay, that's moving. Now
no sonic booms.
Is there a chance? Did you ask yourself at that time that this could be an issue with the radar system, that this may not be a physical object?
Absolutely. And in fact, when we first started seeing these objects, we, just as a sanity check, we ran all the diagnostics we had to make sure that our system was up and working right. And the end result of that was these objects even showed up clearer than they were before.
Okay. All right.
They were definitely real, Jimmy. There is no question they were real. What they were, I have no idea to this day.
Now, were you in communication with Fravor?
My air intercept controller was, and I'm monitoring the radio, so I'm listening, and I could jump on it if I had to, but.
Okay, but you're listening. Okay, so when they get to the merge point, and I like the way that you described that in 2D, right? Not 3D, but in 2D, they're going to be on top of each other, right? So they're now
The
going to
symbology. Yeah. When I'm looking at my radar, I don't look at raw radar. I look at symbols. Different symbols depict different types of aircraft and ships and submarines too, of course. But the symbols would be right on top of each other, correct?
Yep. So they're on top of each other, and at that point, what did Fravor say?
He said he's talking to my AIC, and he leaves his wingman up at altitude, and he chases this object down to the surface of the water. And he gets down there by it, and he re-merges with it down towards the surface. And this object, whatever it was, turns on him. It recognizes him and reacts to him, and they get in like a little dogfight. And the thing just disappeared. It was right in front of him. It just disappeared.
Now you're listening to Fravor speak about everything.
Oh my God, I'm engaged. Yeah, he was pooping his pants.
Right.
For good reason. I mean, no one's ever seen anything like this.
Well, so take me to that moment. And I realize, this is quite some time ago. This is 2021. We're talking about 2004. But certainly you must remember your state at that point of nobody is expecting anything. You don't know what's about to happen. But what went through your mind when Fravor starts to talk about this object emotionally? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, it even gets a little bit weirder. In air defense operations, we our job is to protect the strike group, of course, and anything else we're assigned to. And we have what we call combat air patrol stations, where we station aircraft in the sky on a perimeter around us in case anything comes at us, we can defend. And it's all based on altitude, latitude, and longitude. And Commander Fravor had just launched, and he and Fast Eagle had yet to set their cap station that was assigned to him. But somehow this object went to his cap station, Jimmy, from where they were 60 miles away. Just disappeared, and it appeared right on his cap station, the exact lat and long and the exact altitude. And we were back on board the ship. We were all just stunned. And my AIC comes on the radio and says, sir, you're not going to believe this, but that object is at your cap station. And there was just stunned silence on the radio.
Well, that's impossible, right? Yeah, that's impossible. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's impossible for a lot of different reasons. Physically, it's impossible. But also that exact location, the knowledge of that is impossible, right? Nobody knows about that except for the strike group.
The symbol. Remember, I was talking about symbology. Now, the symbol depicting the cap station is on our data links. So whatever this object was, somehow was able to understand our data links. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah. It's impossible.
I don't have good answers for a lot of this. I'm just reporting what I witnessed.
Right now, at any
others too.
Yeah, totally. At this point, we mentioned the Hawkeye earlier. I'm going to come back to that. What is in the air above the strike group? Do you guys always have radar and other aircraft up above the strike group to protect it?
No. We do daily flight ops, and it's based on the schedule and the need and all that. But no, the short answer is no. But we always do have our radars going. Of course.
Yeah, of course your radars are going. And now, can your radars go over the horizon?
Yes.
They can. Okay. And if I don't want you to disclose any classified information here, but
no, this is all straight out of Wikipedia. Flies over. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You go to Wikipedia, tell you the same stuff.
Okay. So you can see over the horizon, which is 12 miles. At this point, when stuff is coming back to the cap point, was the Hawkeye airborne?
Yes, it was.
Did it have radar lock outside of the Spy One?
The Hawkeye never had radar on these objects.
So let's
all
talk.
The ships did, but the Hawkeye radar did not.
Okay, can we discuss that for a second? Why do you think that was?
Just probably the capabilities of it. I'm not real sure, to be honest with you.
Now everything that
it's a different type of system entirely. So
yeah, certainly.
The Spy is a phased array radar, and the Hawkeye has actually a radar sweep on it. I mean, it's just a different design, different system, different capabilities.
Well, do you think it was? Is it a physical? When you're, we can almost just discuss how a radar works, but in a layman's very simple description of it, archaic, I should say, is signals are sent out. They bounce off of objects, whatever's out there, and are returned back, and then you are able to get a fix on the location and possibly the size of objects from that radar return. Correct? That's basically how the systems operate.
Correct. It's light, basically.
Right. And so if the Hawkeye's not getting a return, could it be because? And again, I'm just asking questions from somebody in the know, that maybe the radar signals are either passing through the object or there's some kind of stealth coding or construction on this craft that would make it difficult to see with radar.
Yes and yes. I don't know, Jimmy. I don't know.
Right.
It's always been a mystery to me why it wasn't able to track it.
And
I've never heard a good explanation. So
yeah,
your guess is as good as mine.
It's fascinating to me, and with the way that the Spy 1 does its job, and it is very sophisticated. We don't need to get into those details, but the Spy 1 is also on other surface ships there, and they didn't have any issue picking up these objects with the Spy 1.
Correct. All the spy ships held solid radar contact on these objects, yes.
And so if all of the other Spy 1s are picking up the objects, and I hope I'm not getting too technical for the audience, that would tend to eliminate, from where I sit, a malfunction or a misreading with the Spy 1 system on a specific ship. If everybody's seeing the same thing, then everybody is seeing the same thing.
That's correct. And then let's not forget that Fast Eagle actually had human eyeballs on these objects.
And we're going to
actually saw.
Yeah, we're going to come. We're going to come back to that right after this short break.
They were real. There's no question they were real.
Yep. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day is with us for the first time. We are going to do a deep dive. All of it. The events on board the USS Princeton, the Nimitz Strike Group, and everything that went down in November of 2004. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with me. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B blend for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day is with us. We're going through the Nimitz event, and I want to absorb as much of this as possible. And the thing is, for me, Kevin Day was there, and I think it is very important for myself to understand all of this and hear directly from Kevin, and that's it. And we're going to do all of that tonight. And now, before I move forward, I want to say this, Kevin, that a few weeks ago, Kim comes up to me, and I've known Kim for a while, and she's wearing her Fade to Black shirt. And I'm like, Kim, and we do our thing and we greet each other. And she goes, Kevin Day. And that's all I'm going to say. And I want to thank Kim for her amazing smile and who she is and what ended up happening after that. So I just want to state that, because I know she's listening, and she's probably, Kevin, wearing her Fade to Black shirt right now while listening to this
Kimberly.
show. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And
thank you, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. She's so dynamic. Okay, now
Let's continue with this. The object, when you say, okay, so Fravor, his wingman, which was a wing person, right? Was that Alex Dietrich at this point?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So,
and I prefer wing person. I prefer wing person as well.
Yeah,
the wingman doesn't work now.
It's the PC world that we live in. You know, and she's probably listening too as well, and she's laughing. She's been dealing with that for a long time.
Yeah.
But
no question about it.
Okay, so they're at the cap point, and you've just stated that it goes from 28,000 feet down to sea level. What is it that you are seeing on your radar when you see that kind of descent? How does that come back to you visually, to you and your team?
The symbol if you look on your display, if you have what we call a hook, you can actually roll your ball tab over anything and hook it, and it gives you all the information for that track right there on the system. And if you do that, you can see the altitude, as part of the information display. So we're watching it on our screens. This thing drops out of the sky in less than a second. Now, the cool thing is right when this was happening, of course, the rest of the aircraft are launching off the Nimitz. The rest of the flight plan, and they're of course listening to all this on the radios. And before I know it, I have all these autonomous intercepts happening with the rest of these unknown groups. These guys just took off and intercepted them on their own. And I swear to God, Jimmy, at one point, all those objects, I think there was probably 10 of them during this event. They all dropped out of the sky at the same time, from 28,000 feet down to the surface of the water. It was raining UFOs.
Yeah, right.
Lack of a better way to say it.
Now, and this is a part of the event that isn't discussed much, if at all. And so this is the next question, which may be the most important one. We have the visuals, and Fravor and Dietrich are at the cap point, and they are reporting back to you guys. With the other aircraft that were launched, were those objects similar in description to, I'm just going to say Tic-Tac so everybody knows what we're talking about. The Tic-Tac that Dietrich and Fravor are talking about at their cap point.
Yeah, they're all the identical looking objects.
So are you suggesting that...
And of course, I didn't see them with my own eyes up close. Now, there was a couple times I would pick the closest one on the radar, and I'd get the relative bearing and range from the ship. I'd run up to the bridgeway and I'd look through the big eye binoculars. And the couple times I did see it, it was just a boring white light. I was kind of disappointed. Actually, didn't do nothing. But people that stood watch on the bridge were seeing these things with their eyes doing some impossible maneuvers. You bet.
Now,
are any of them? But
now we've heard from Chad Underwood. We've heard from Captain Fravor, of course, and Alex Dietrich.
Right.
But you're now saying to us that there was another 7, 8, 9, 10 aircraft launched from the Nimitz out raining UFOs. They're on their way. Do we have another 7, 8, 9, 10 pilots that could possibly come forward?
I guess it's possible. A lot of these guys and gals nowadays, they have defense contracting jobs and stuff. So some people have chosen not to come forward, and they have their own reasons, and I respect it. So I'm not going to mention names and stuff here tonight because I don't want to leave anyone out, first of all, but I don't want to say someone's name that I probably shouldn't.
Right.
Because I don't want to.
Now,
I don't have permission.
Of course. But you being in your position at the CIC on the Princeton and with your job, you know these other pilots that are out there, right? That's it. You've been in service with them.
Workups and meetings and all kinds of interaction with them over the months and years. You bet.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And some of them I had known for a very long time. Of course, it's a small community.
Now,
relatively, especially the Top Gun communities.
Sure. And we'll come back to the events of the day. But were there? I know that Fravor has talked about him coming back to the ship, and I read all of the original stuff from Paco and which predated the New York Times article, of course. But he comes back to the ship, and it's like, oh, little green men UFO talk, right? And that's what Fravor was facing. Was that the chatter on the Princeton and the Nimitz, the UFO stuff?
Well, the Princeton was a much smaller crew than the Nimitz, so we didn't, like when Commander Fravor got back on board, they were playing, all the old UFO movies, and they bit cartoons in the ship's newspaper and that kind of stuff. I didn't receive that type of treatment on the Princeton because everyone on the Princeton knew our capabilities and knew who I was, and they believed what we all saw in combat. We didn't get the ridicule.
Yeah,
I didn't get that till after I retired. I want to talk to you about that a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Okay, what about? Have you were you debriefed? I mean, did they pull you in and discuss the events of the day? Was there did Captain Smith? I mean, he's got to write up some kind of incident report. There's got to be stuff in the ship's logs. To your knowledge,
Jimmy, that was my job. I was a primary message writer for the ship for operational messages. I would draft the messages and I'd route it up the chain of command, and then the captain would, be the final chop on it. I went up to combat the next day because I wanted to write a report and give it to the captain, see if he would release the message or not. I didn't know, and I got up there and I asked one of the computer technicians, and I won't say his name out of respect. He hasn't come forward yet. Can I review the data? Because I want to write a message for the captain. And he looks at me and he says, the data's not here, Senior. Someone came on board the ship and took it. That's what he told me.
What does that mean to you? I mean, have you ever heard of anything like this before?
Go ahead. I didn't hear you.
I said.
I've
laughing.
got a baby crying. Can I be right back? I got to get his mom.
I'm enjoying this. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Hold on just a sec. I'll be right back.
This is great. This reminds me of when we had I was trying to think of the show. Ann Druffel on the show when the gas company showed up at the front door. And that was one of the most precious moments of radio. Okay, so we got Kevin back, and Kevin,
I'm back with you.
Kevin, that was awesome, by the way. That was just totally awesome. Okay, so but to my point, the military. I'm a military brat. I've seen it go down. You have structure. You have rules, you have a method of operations from when you wake up to when you hit your bunk at night. That's it. And you don't break these things. You need the stability of consistency where everything is done by the book. Well, this wasn't done by the book. It's like it's breaking protocol for what you are used to doing. What did that say to you?
I was baffled. Just think about it in layman's terms. These objects were at 28,000 feet, only traveling like 100 miles an hour. How is that even possible? Wouldn't it fall out of the sky instead? Mm-hmm. How did it create lift? And I was thinking all these things because, I've got a background in air intercept control, of course, and I'd never seen anything fly like this in my entire career. When I was sitting in that day, I had 18 years of ship time looking at that radar, looking at that, on those radar systems, and I had never seen anything fly like that ever. It was totally baffling. and still is to this day. I don't know what they were. Especially when they were real and they reacted to us. And so whatever was controlling them was intelligent.
What do you think was officially represented after the fact in the Princeton's logs?
Most of our log keeping nowadays is done electronically.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just more accurate, it's more timely, and we just take, things happen so quickly. We still have logs, but not the type that you're referring to, like radar contact logs and stuff like that. We just, so it's to me, it's still baffling to this day. I have no idea what those objects, and I want to know. That's why, can I go into what happened after this whole thing?
Yeah, sure.
For that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, and oddly enough, Jimmy, this just so happened to be my very last underway in uniform before I retired. It was also my very last intercept. I have hundreds of intercepts in my logbook from even including wartime operations. And for this to happen on my last underway, my very last intercept, was that point kind of stuck with me. So. But my concern was safety of flight, always has been. So I retire, I get a job with the Department of Defense as a contractor, and I'm trying to raise the issue of, hey, we may have a safety of flight issue out here in SoCal. And as soon as I started to describe what happened, I got laughed at. And no one took me seriously, it seemed to me. And I mean, you could see the look on their face, like, what's wrong with you? You've been smoking, Kevin. That type of look. And I got so frustrated with it, Jimmy, I actually ended up quitting the Department of Defense. And I was living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. And as I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? What now? So what I did do is I wrote a short story about it. I fictionalized it. It's called The Seer. But when you read The Seer, it's in my book called Sailor's Anthology. It's a short story within the book. There's no question that I'm talking about this Nimitz incident. I mean, those stories are that similar. But, my story is fictionalized because when I wrote it and published it in early 2009, I didn't know this story was there. I wrote it just in case the story ever became public, that my little book would be evidence that this thing really happened. That's one of the reasons why I wrote it. The other reason was just because it made me feel better. I did something positive with this. And I went on to live. I went on in life, and I ended up back in my hometown in Oregon, Southern Oregon. And I had just reopened the kitchen at the local golf course, the Illinois Valley Golf Course down here in town. And I hadn't hired a waiter or waitress yet, so I was carrying out a plate of food. And we were watching the golf channel, of course, with a tournament was playing. And all of a sudden, CNN's on. I thought, I was getting ready. Who changed the channel? But it was the Commander Fravor story. I was so shocked. It was so unexpected and so out of the blue that I dropped the plate of food right there, crashed on the floor. I yell out to my brother-in-law, Dave, I got to go. And I came home and jumped on the internet to find out what the hell was going on. And because I knew in that moment, Jimmy, that my life was about to change again. There was no question in my mind. It was just it was overwhelming to me. Like, oh shit. Here we go, Kev.
Yeah. Now, and this is interesting to me. So you find out about this on CNN. Up to that point, nobody reached out to you. You didn't read the Paco story on his pilot's blog. You weren't aware of any of that.
I wasn't. No.
Nobody from
this CNN news account pulled me back into it. I'd moved on in life. I was doing other stuff now and pretty much forgotten all about it.
Yeah, well, no.
I didn't know, what am I supposed to do with it anyway? Who am I supposed to tell? Everyone laughed at me.
Yeah. But what I find interesting is you have ATIP is running. Lou Elizondo's doing that. According to Lou and others, they were aware of the Nimitz encounter. There was the conversations going on around that, but nobody from the Department of Defense, nobody from the Navy, nobody from inside of the Pentagon reached out to you or other crew members of the Nimitz Strike Group or the Princeton to ask about this incident, and which was clearly being investigated, but nobody talked to you.
When I ended up in the wilderness back here at home, because in 2013 I had become obsessed with this idea I could find the mother lode to a 100-year-old mining claim that our family owned. And so I ended up in the wilderness, and the long story short, Jimmy, I did find it. I'll send you I think I sent you my research on it and stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, I come out of the wilderness, and this was 2014 now, and I was over at a friend's house, and there was two guys there that I'd met. And at the time, it seemed like a happenstance meeting, but they came up to the house the next day, and they said some really strange things that at the time I didn't know who they were, but they dropped enough hints that when Lou came to see me, I was able to finally put it all together. So yeah, long story short, I was visited back in 2014 by people from that program. I believe that's true.
And you didn't know that.
I think they were trying to ascertain how useful I was going to be to them.
Exactly. What kind of questions were they asking you, Kevin? Do you remember?
No, I think they were still pretending to be just happenstance friends. So I think they were just trying to gauge my mental stability, and, that type of stuff, because they really couldn't say too much. But and they went by the name of Forrest and Shakate, if they're listening. One of the things that Forrest told me, he said, Kevin, you are incredibly important to what's about to happen. I got to tell you, Jimmy, I thought he was freaking nuts. I didn't know what to make of it at the time. I had no idea what he was talking about.
Right.
And until many years later.
Okay, now we're gonna pin this part of the conversation to the wall. We're gonna come back right here. Let's go back to the Nimitz. What happened the day after? The day after the Tic-Tac event. Were there any?
We continued to track more of these objects. If I added up all these objects over the course of the time that we were tracking them, it was probably about 100 of these things. Mm-hmm. Like 50 before the Intercept, and maybe 50 after in the days that followed. And we just continued to track and report these things on our data links. And
okay,
we didn't when they were up, we didn't fly, but basically we didn't want to run into them.
Now, some of the reports that have been out there, and Lou has talked about this publicly, some of these reports from ridiculous altitudes, above 60,000 feet. And once you get above 60,000 feet, you're almost in space, right? We're talking about that kind of altitude. And so to go from 80,000 feet down to sea level, with reports being, this fast, were you tracking these objects from those crazy altitudes to sea level?
The ship was. Now, other watch centers, the ballistic missile defense watch guys, watch lower Earth atmosphere. They watch that altitude. I wasn't paying attention to the altitude, but they were tracking them inner Earth's atmosphere from low Earth orbit. Yes, they were.
Yeah,
they went from 89,000 feet, and they stationed at 28,000 feet. Dropped out of space, stationed at 28,000 feet, right by the island, and started tracking south at 100 knots.
Now, where was
that is up the south, I don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So let's stay right here. When we talk about the Nimitz Strike Group being off of the coast of California, and some of the references are San Diego, which is a huge naval center for sure. Catalina Island, though, is not San Diego. Catalina Island is off the coast of Los Angeles, which is it's 100 miles north of San Diego. Where was the Nimitz Strike Group at in between San Diego and Los Angeles, and how far off of the coast?
We were southwest of San Diego, probably 60, 80 miles to the southwest. So on my radar. When I first picked up the objects, they were probably, 150 miles away or so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes okay. So my bearings are correct. I'm not Marco Polo, but I do live in Southern California, right? Okay, so you guys are 80 miles southwest of San Diego, and Catalina Island is about 140 miles north of you, and you were seeing them north of Catalina Island near the Channel Islands at some point, which is further north up the coast, another 10 or 20 miles near Santa Barbara.
I misspoke. I detected them I got the tracks on radar right off the coast of San Clemente. I had my geography. So they're in that channel between Catalina and the mainland.
Okay.
That narrow strip of water.
See, that's a whole different thing. Okay. So that would split what I'm talking about in half. Okay. So San Clemente is south of Los Angeles and southeast.
No, Catalina. Catalina.
Yeah. You said San Clemente, though. Okay, that's fine.
I meant to say Catalina.
Okay.
I was detecting them right off the coast of Catalina.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Now, okay, so talking about the next day, how many days after the initial Tic-Tac event with Fravor and Dietrich, the next day you're tracking more? You said there were about 50 objects. How many days did this continue? Do you remember?
It was several days, 4 or 5 days after.
Right.
We pulled back into port.
Right.
And shortly after that, yep.
And when you were talking about, you're not initiating flight contact for visual anymore. You're not flying. But you said that there were 50 more objects. So are you tracking them individually, or are they showing up as multiple objects at the same time, 3 or 4 at a time, or were these single incidents?
When they appeared in groups of 5 to 10 at a time. And over the course of those several days, if you added them all up, it was about 100 contacts.
About 100 contacts. And in a general sense,
you added them all up.
I've got
so maybe groups of 5 to 10 over the course of days. It was quite a few contacts.
Gotcha. Now I've got 15 seconds before the break. And on average, you're saying that they would go from 80,000 feet to 28,000, and that's like their cap point, right? Their staging area. And they would stay there and then go from 28,000 feet down to sea level.
Correct.
That is insane to me. Okay, let's take our break. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, the one and only Kevin Day. I'm getting all of my questions answered. This is crazy stuff. Thank you so much, Kevin. I just got the thumbs up from Kevin. 4-minute break. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back after this short message. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day is with us. I want to thank Lou Elizondo for coming on the show earlier tonight. And one of the things, Kevin, that Lou said when I let him know that you were on the show tonight, he said, Kevin Day, good man, Kevin Day. So I wanted to pass that on. And what is significant here, Kevin, is everything that is happening today. We're not going to discuss it, but I'm talking about the UAPTF and the Senate Intelligence Committee, the DOD, the AEGIS, Chris Mellon, these videos, the statements, pilots coming forward. Everything that is happening is because of that day and you and what went down. Did you have any idea, man, that you would find yourself in this position, and on this show tonight about this? Because these are world-changing, paradigm-shifting things that are happening right now. Did you ever expect this?
I'm just as in shock now as I always have been about this. It's unbelievable what's happened. I mean, it truly is. I mean, can you imagine what it must be like to be someone like myself that this thing changed my life, man. It drastically impacted me. I paid a very high price for this. And in fact, I just lost my wife. She's divorcing me, 31 years of mostly good marriage. She walked out the door. She couldn't handle this anymore and what was happening to me. And, like I told you before, I ended up at one time, I was living in the wilderness, obsessed with this idea I could find the mother lode, and I did, but that's another whole story. So yeah, this is all, people like to ask, well, why me? And I don't even know if I like that question, because it makes me feel self-important, which I don't feel like that. I just was some guy on watch, and it happened.
You were just the guy in the way. Right. And what an interesting way to look at it. And life is strange, and you always have to, you got to play the cards that you're dealt, right? You don't have a choice. You can't back out of it. But no. I want to thank.
I had to stand up when Commander Favor went public. I called Gary Voorhees. He's the president of UAPX team right now. And I said, hey, Gary, we were there, man. We have to back up what Commander Favor's saying, because he's telling the truth. And he agreed with me, and one thing led to another, and we're here today because Commander Favor was brave enough to go public, and he is a real hero in my book. if he happens to be listening, thank you, sir, for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, did any of these objects enter the water?
It wasn't my situational awareness. That's what happened. And I've never gotten a real clear answer to that. And there's people that say that that's exactly what happened, though. And they had, and when they went into the water, they apparently didn't slow down much. They were going like 500 knots under the water, apparently. And I don't have firsthand testimony to that. I'm just repeating what I had heard. I was watching the air picture, not underwater.
Sure, of course. Now, how many submarines are in the Nimitz Strike Group?
Well, I can't go there.
Okay, I'll help you out.
You can assume there's at least one.
Yeah, I was going to say the number shall be 2. Okay, so so let's go with somewhere between 1 and 2. But obviously, they're running sonar. With your position at does the CIC? They must be in contact with the submarines.
Oh yeah, in fact, a little annex to Combat Information Center is sonar control, so we're pinging sonar as well off the ship. Yep. So it's not just the submarines; it's the ships as well with sonar.
Okay.
Whole mounted sonar.
Can you comment on any sonar pings of objects under the water?
No, I didn't have any awareness that was happening.
Did the submarine?
I was watching on a completely other side of combat.
Right.
I didn't know that was going on, and when this was happening, I had no idea what was going on in sonar control.
Okay, so you didn't hear from the submarines, is what you didn't.
No.
Okay. No. But you have heard.
Well, I did. The watchstanders in sonar control did, sure, but not me. They're talking to them on the hydrophones.
Did anybody mention sonar contact of objects under the water during these incidents?
Ask me that again.
I said, did anybody comment on sonar contact during these incidents from the submarines?
Not that I was aware of, because in Combat Information Center, you got 2 different nets, and I wasn't monitoring the net that would have been reported on.
Okay.
Or there's more nets than that, of course, but I wasn't. If that conversation was held, I didn't hear it. It wasn't my area of expertise.
Okay.
That way. It wasn't my watch position I was standing.
After the incidents took place, there has been firsthand testimony from individuals, as you know, that made comments about helicopters landing at the strike group, individuals coming off of these helicopters and pretty much walking around collecting hard drives and data like it was nothing. And they had the power to do this. Did you see any of this take place? Did it take place on the Princeton?
I did not see it myself. In fact, probably the biggest reason I tend to believe those reports is because the next morning I went up to write an after action message and my data was gone. So just the fact my data was gone kind of lends credibility to what people are saying, in my opinion. Someone took our data.
Now, with your experience, 18 years in the Navy, have you heard of another incident where helicopters arrive from the mainland, from somewhere, and agency type individuals are landing on the ships, which I find highly unusual, and acquiring hard drives? Have you ever heard of anything like this happening in your 18 years?
Yeah, during the Iranian Flight 655 shootdown, when the Vincennes shot down the Iranian Airbus by accident, the same sort of thing happened. People came on board the ship and took all of our data. It was my first deployment.
And so you were there. You saw that.
Yeah, I was. It was my first deployment, and I had nothing to do with it. I was a real junior guy. My very first deployment overseas. But when it happened, Jimmy, I was standing maybe 3 feet away from the captain when he turned the key to fire the missiles, just because I was doing a navigation function right behind him. And that was kind of and I've always carried a sense of guilt because that summer I'd been watching that contact, and I knew it was a comm error. In my heart, I knew it was a comm error, and because I've been watching this contact every day. It was on a regular scheduled flight, probably. And I was just about to say something when Captain Smith yells out, "Make damn sure that's not a comm error." Yells over to their side. So, okay, they got it. They obviously know something I don't. But it turns out not to have been the case. And so when I did finally get more senior and I started getting over to the air side, which is where the really good operators tend to navigate towards, not to say there's not some very excellent surface and subsurface watchstanders. I'm not saying that at all. But you kind of go to where your forte is. And so when I did make it to the air side, that memory went with me. So I wanted to make damn sure we never shot down another commercial airliner as long as I was on the ship. And it made me very vigilant, and it made me extremely, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was a pretty good watchstander. I could identify stuff. It was my job, and I did it well.
Now, staying on
and
this,
it's all based on that experience.
Yeah, I didn't know that you watched the missiles get launched in that horrific incident. What a crazy thing to have gone through on your first deployment. But carrying that knowledge with you, let's go back to the Nimitz. There has been, I don't know if this has ever been 100% confirmed, but somebody asked Fravor if he was carrying stuff. Was that you? Who asked him if he was locked and loaded?
Oh, in exercise environments, we don't carry weapons. Just for that reason, we don't want to accidentally shoot ourselves. Duh, right? Mm-hmm. So everything's fake. We got fake telemetry missiles and stuff like that on the wings, not the real McCoy. No, we were definitely not loaded.
Well, why would air traffic control ask Fravor that question? If he's obviously not armed, right? Why would somebody ask?
I think she, Commander Teresa Elders, she's passed away. Rest in peace, Commander Elders. At the time, she was a lieutenant commander. I think she was just pooping her pants, because she knew that she just wanted to make double sure. I guess I don't know. I've always wondered that myself, because we were definitely in an exercise environment, and we never carry live ordnance in exercise environment unless it's for a missile X, an actual scheduled missile shoot or something. That's completely different than an air defense exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely different training.
Now, are these missiles? They're just not. They don't have warheads, but they can still fire. But they don't have warheads.
No, they can't fire.
They can't fire, right? So why ask him? I mean, maybe it would be effective to shoot it.
Purposes.
I'm picturing shooting a dummy missile. Maybe that would have an effect on something. A kinetic effect and contact, but that's not even possible, right? These missiles cannot fire.
We didn't shoot anything. They won't come off the wings unless you knock them off with a sledgehammer or unbolt them.
Okay, let's suppose Elder is pooping her pants, and God rest her soul. Okay, but let's say that is the case. Was she thinking that maybe Fravor may have to fire on this object? Am I putting too much into the statement?
I think you're putting too much into it. Yeah. She didn't want there to be an accidental mishap. Her concerns were totally focused on safety.
Oh, she didn't want
safety of flight, safety of aircraft. We were in an exercise environment right off the coast of California.
Right.
And these things were never once considered hostile in any way, shape, or form. They were only considered a safety of flight risk. That's it.
And one last question, probably just as senseless as the last one, meaningless, I should say. Is Fravor carrying bullets? He's got cannons,
No.
right? He's got machine guns on board.
No bullets. No. Hey, Jimmy, listen closely.
Yes.
No weapons and no ordnance at all are carried on these planes during exercises. It's that simple.
So
unless it's a scheduled missile defense or a scheduled shoot of some kind, then that's a completely different operation.
Right. Shooting at targets out in the open ocean. So, so Fravor, Dietrich, Chad Underwood, and the other pilots through the first days of these incidents, they were defenseless, right? They didn't have a way to defend themselves.
I mean, just like you're defenseless driving on I-5 in your car.
Right.
I mean,
I can't. Well, no, you haven't seen my car. I've got machine guns. I've got machine guns.
The yellow Jeep. Yeah.
You haven't seen my James Bond Jeep. I've got right
On,
oil.
man.
I've got oil deployment.
Yeah.
So anyway, is that part of the reasons for not deploying any more aircraft? Because if there's any hostile intent from any of these, if they wanted to shoot first, there is no defense.
Yeah, correct. But they didn't.
Right.
And they never displayed any type of hostile. In fact, all they did was try to avoid us. I mean, it was like they wanted to be seen, but they were definitely avoiding us.
Next,
running away from our aircraft, basically.
Now, the footage that we have seen that Chad shot, I think we now know that footage was not Fravor's incident. That was a separate incident. The Tic-Tac that was filmed that we have seen, the one video, was not Fravor. What happened to Fravor's?
No, it was someone else from the same squadron, the FA-41, but it was not Fravor's Intercept. That's correct. Another pilot, another aircrew filmed that.
Now, what about
based on subsequent intercepts?
Correct. But what happened to Fravor's footage and Dietrich's?
I don't know. I do not know to this day. When aircraft, and basically just to back up, since we're talking about this a little bit, when in air intercept control, when an aircrew takes an intercept order from one of the ships or from the E-2 Hawkeye, they say the comms that come back, fights on, tapes on. So from the second they get the call, they turn their tapes on. So this video that we've all seen with just a couple seconds is actually just a snippet out of a much longer video that had to exist, because that's how we operate. We record everything from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was where that video is, I have no idea to this day. I don't know.
And that would be the same thing. These are questions that have never been addressed directly, Kevin, and I appreciate you being so candid about this. But based on that statement, and we are assuming this has to be the case, that every one of those flights that day off of the Nimitz, and you said yourself you launched another 9 or 10 after Fravor and Dietrich, they've all got footage, right? They're all cameras on.
That should have been the case, yeah. Where are they to this day? I don't know. I don't know how many videos. There has to be more somewhere. I mean, that's just the way we operate.
Now, when
it's the same way we had radar data,
it has to be the case, and the data that is in front of and in back of each one of those, I'm talking about the gimbal, the Go Fast, and the Tic-Tac. Those are very small snippets, just like you just stated. There is footage at the front and the back that is data. Not only data and telemetry that's on the screen, of course, but what you can visually see, right? That's data too. And that is gone. The 9 or 10 additional aircraft that were launched that day off of the Nimitz to these other objects that you guys are tracking on the Spy 1, when these helicopters landed on the Nimitz, I don't know if they landed on the Princeton too, but was that what was collected as well, in addition to the radar information, the comms information, that they would have gone and collected the data from these other aircraft?
I'm assuming that's exactly what happened on the Nimitz, yeah. Of course, I wasn't on the Nimitz. I was on the Princeton, so I can only speak to what I've witnessed on board the Nimitz and what happened the next day. But yeah, that's from what from talking to others that were on the Nimitz, that's exactly what happened. People came on board the Nimitz and took their data too.
Now, why is it, have you been expecting, kind of like what I'm expecting, that somebody should be asking these questions of the Navy and the Department of Defense, that these additional incidents occurred? Where's the footage? What happened? We need to know. Why isn't somebody out there asking these questions? You know, Rubio, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the UAP Task Force, have they seen this additional footage?
I think the ATIP program's asking those precise questions. And just the fact that it's not public knowledge doesn't really tell me much, because things get classified, and sometimes what's obvious to someone else isn't to the normal lay person. It's not known. But this data has to exist somewhere. I find it really impossible. In fact, I have to put it in the impossible category that someone destroyed this stuff and this no longer exists. It just doesn't seem. Who would do that? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's evidence, historical evidence, world-changing shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, world-changing shit. And I don't use foul language on this show. In fact, the audience just went, "Did Jimmy just use the S word?" I did. I want to clear.
World-changing poo-poo.
Yeah, world-changing poo-poo. I want to clear one thing up. Did helicopters land on the Princeton?
They land every day, all day. So, yes. Well, the short answer is yes. But that's normal operations. We launch and recover aircraft every day, pretty much. Because you got to do mail runs and all kinds of stuff.
Did the agency's helicopters land on the Princeton after the Tic-Tac events?
No, it was according to the technicians that I talked to, it was a Navy helicopter.
Okay, so
landed on the ship.
Okay, so that
landed on the Princeton.
Right, and that did happen. All of this is so extremely interesting, and as taxpayers, you know, I think that there's some answers here that we need with all of this. I mean, if there is just a very simple explanation for all of this, give it to us. If it is something else beyond that, well, let's figure that out too. Which brings me back to the technology that is involved here. Has, to your knowledge, in 18 years with the Navy, has there been unannounced testing of secret technology on a strike group to see the effectiveness of that technology unannounced?
No. In fact, it violates every training protocol ever written by the military, not just the Navy, but whenever we do an exercise, it is thoroughly briefed up and down the chain of command, just in case we don't kill people and break things. So it wasn't, unless someone very high up ordered it to happen. I don't see any conceivable way this was a test on us during an exercise. I just don't see it happening. It's too dangerous.
Now, you've reviewed this.
What if we hadn't reacted the way we did and we ran into one of these things?
Right.
I mean, who's, you know?
Well,
and in fact, after this happened, Jimmy, I tried to raise the flag of concern. This was back in 2014. I was like, hey man, we got a safety of flight issue. And since that time, there's been near mid-air collisions with these same objects, right, on the East Coast with Navy aircraft. And so I turned out to be correct about that. Safety of flight concern.
We're going to continue this after the break, and I want to set this up for our return. When you have reviewed this over and over again in your mind, the events of November 2004, is there a possibility that this could be a foreign state actor outside of the United States? Pick the country, it doesn't matter. Is there a possibility that this could be technology that one of our adversaries or friends possesses?
Because I don't know, haven't made the identification of these objects yet. I have to include that as a possibility. Sure. I don't think so, but I don't have any evidence other than it doesn't sound right to me.
Right. And
the stuff was way too advanced.
Why do you think these incidents happened with the Roosevelt and the Nimitz Navy strike groups off of each coast of the United States, but not over Dallas, Texas, not over civilian installation? And we haven't heard about anything happening off the coast of the United Kingdom or in the Sea of Japan. We haven't heard about incidents with other militaries around the world that were similar to this. Why do you think it's the United States Navy and their strike groups?
Because we have the assets in place and the procedures in place to see these things and track them. But your question is valid, and it's been a mystery to me as well. Why us? Why then? And what the hell were these things? I mean, for real. I mean, what were they, Jimmy? Well, they were real, and they were intelligent, and they reacted to us, and they move. If you take a mirror and shine a flashlight on it, and how quickly the light bounces off the mirror, that's how these things moved. It's like not physically possible what they did.
Are you saying that? We're going to continue this when we come back after the break. I've got to jump in 15 seconds here, but are you suggesting, Kevin, that these incidents do happen around the world? We just don't have the ability to track and to see them, but the Navy strike groups with the Spy One do have the capability to identify these objects.
That's my gut instinct, correct? Yep.
Yeah, fascinating. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day. I just muted myself. I just hit the cough button. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kevin Day is with us. Got one segment left, and Kevin, I want to take this opportunity to ask some obvious questions. I mean, if you were the host and I was sitting in your chair, you would ask me these next questions. What do you think, man? E.T.? Do you think these are drones, or do you think, now that you've thought about this, is E.T. visiting us?
My personal opinion is yes, and I think they have for a very, very long time. Throughout mankind's history.
Yeah, well, certainly. But specifically, November of 2004. Do you think that that was E.T.?
I personally believe yes. I have to say yes, because I've ruled out it's ours or theirs technology type of just because it was so freaking amazing. So what is that? It's a pretty short list, Jimmy.
Yes,
once you
is.
eliminate us, then where does that leave us? It's a pretty darn short list, right? So you tell me.
Yes.
What's left on the list?
Now,
angels? I mean, something alive? I mean, that's the other possibility. They were actually some form of living, breathing organism.
Sure. Now, let's go back to the moment when you ran up to the bridge and you're looking through I can only imagine what kind of binoculars those are. I want a pair. And you were able to get eyes on yourself very briefly, but you did see something. Can you tell me about that? And what kind of motion did they show you? What kind of action? What did you see?
I actually I saw him. I ran up to the bridge probably 4 times during this course of the number of days. And unfortunately, every time I saw it was at night. It was just a really boring white light in the sky and didn't do anything. It was tracking real slowly south. And when I saw it, it was actually just a boring white light in the sky. I didn't actually see it do anything other than move real slow. Now, the bridge watch standards, on the other hand, some of them have different. They would testify differently than I am right now. And I don't know if you had an opportunity to talk to some of them, but maybe we could make that arrangement for you.
Sure.
Okay.
The speed changes from 100 knots to the extremes, where we're talking about tens of thousands of miles an hour. That's pretty crazy. But the 100 knots part has caused some out there to suggest that these were just drones. You just said ET. Why would somebody say drones? And did the Navy ever suggest drones? And wouldn't drones then be us and our technology, even if we're going back to 2004?
Probably be us, yeah. But let's take the case of drones. This object goes from 28,000 feet down to the surface of the ocean in less than a second. Wouldn't even a drone make a sonic boom?
Well, but we have to go back to 2004 too, as well, and think about the drone technology that was around back then. This is 2004. This is not 2015 or 2018. Where drones are everywhere today. We have delivery drones. You can buy drones off Amazon all day long. Pretty cool things. But we're not talking about a DJI Phantom or a Mavic. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 2004. And the stuff that was around back then, the Predator maybe, and some other things, that's not 100-knot quadcopter. That's not what was around back in 2004. The Navy didn't have that, did they?
Not to my knowledge, no. I don't believe they were drones. And certainly the way that Commander Fravor described his visual, because when we got back to the beach, I met him at a meeting. I said, "Hey, sir, what did it look like?" And he said, "Senior Chief, you're not going to believe this, but it looked like a big giant white Tic-Tac. No wings, no doors, no windows, no rivets. It looked like a big giant mint candy, about the same size of my aircraft." Now, if that's a drone in 2004, I'll eat my hat. I really will. It's sitting here on the table. I'll eat the whole thing.
Right. And so Fravor told you this back in 2004, 2005.
Correct. Yep. We pulled back into the beach, and of course we had after exercise meetings and stuff, and I met him at one of the meetings and just pulled him aside and asked him what he'd seen. He said a giant white Tic-Tac.
Now, there's something else that I want to talk about. You spent 18 years in the Navy. With all of the training. Oh, by the way, did you train at Great Lakes Naval Station?
No, I'd never. I was a West Coast guy. I've been out to the East Coast because that's where a lot of the schoolhouses and stuff are, but I was never at Great Lakes. No,
I was born at Great Lakes Naval Station.
Oh,
yeah. How cool is that?
You are a military brat.
Yeah, I was born at Great Lakes Naval Station, man, which is a huge training facility for the Navy. Okay, but in all of your training, and that's all you do. You guys train. That's most people don't understand. They think the Navy or any branch of the military, you're doing other stuff. No, you're training. That's all you do. You're constantly training.
Constantly training.
Did you have any training on UFOs? Was there anything in the
Zero.
manual? None, right?
Zero. Nope.
Now, UAP is used today, unidentified aerial phenomena. So let's take UFO out of the picture in the training. Let's take UAP out of the picture in the training. But you are in the Navy, you identify every ship in the world. That's what you guys are trained to do. You look at something, you know what it is. You know what the submarines are. You know every frigate of every Navy in the world. Same thing with airplanes and aircraft. You guys know visually when you look at something what it is. What about when you see something that you can't identify? I'm not talking about UFOs or UAPs, but what are the standards there?
Becomes an unknown contact. In purely technical terms, like it could be like a fishing boat with its IFF transponder off or something like that. We're just, because we've got systems on board that help us identify stuff, and identification, friend or foe is one of them, IFF, and that's a transponder on ships and aircraft that you ping it and it comes back with a code to tell you what it is.
And in this case, I have to assume you guys are trying to ping the Tic-Tacs.
Yes, and there was no electronic emissions coming off these things that I'm aware of.
Now, with
at all.
Okay, now let's suppose a couple of things really quick. You've got like some crazy Russian fighter, SU whatever, that's up there, and you ping that. Do they ping back foe? Do you get an identification code coming back off of enemy aircraft?
Yeah.
You do, right?
We'll get.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're pinging these aircraft and you're getting nothing back, what's the standard for that? How do you guys, besides freak out, how do you guys have to handle that?
Our response was to continue to track and report it. No, our data link's getting shared by all the assets out there on the ocean, of course, but our data link is also going back to the beach. So presumably there is people on the beach aware of what was happening. But I wasn't there, so I can't confirm or deny that.
The other part to this in the tracking with the Spy 1 and how high up you can go and its effectiveness. We have satellites that are doing the same thing. To your knowledge, are they being tracked from space to Earth, and are they being tracked as they enter the atmosphere? A former CIA director recently, in the past few months, made some very strange comments about this, about the tracking of satellites, with satellites of these objects. Have you heard, and would the Navy be made aware of the tracking of these objects before they got here to these 80,000-foot altitudes?
Nowadays, probably, but back in 2004, I don't believe so. But, I mean, it just wasn't something we had trained to, ever.
Right.
I mean, we do our best to ID stuff, and in the case where you do get a contact, you can't ID it. It becomes unknown. You just track it. You track and report it, especially off the coast of the United States. We're not in a war zone here.
We are not.
We're not thinking hostile.
And now, what about the different branches of the military? Right now, it seems like everything is U.S. Navy centric, as you're well aware of. But what about the Air Force? And what about the Marines? The Army has aircraft. So does the Coast Guard. Is there communication between the branches of the military about this phenomenon?
I have no idea. I've been out of that business for a number of years now. I don't know. I'd have to assume so, but I don't know.
Why?
I mean, it's been years since I left the military. So,
and why do you think? And I understand that the Navy has got aircraft carriers, right, and Top Gun, and what have you. But why hasn't the Air Force stepped up and talked about UAPs? Do you find that interesting? The silence coming from the Air Force right now.
I do indeed. It's kind of revealing in and of itself, isn't it? The fact they are silent.
Well, yes. And when the UAP, and I bring this up because the UAP task force and its report, even there in the public section of the report, it's all about the United States Navy. The IG, gets involved with Lou and Danny Sheehan. And they want information coming from all the branches, from all of the agencies. They want to know what everybody knows about UAPs and how they're dealing with it, which appears to me a breakdown, a lack of communication, right? I don't understand that. Did that surprise you that everything seems to be so compartmentalized and every branch of the military is keeping to themselves on this subject?
Man, I've thought long and hard about this. I guess the answer is no. I'm not surprised. I wish it weren't the case, but if that's what's happening, then yeah. I mean, it's kind of the way the military works. Everything's compartmentalized. I mean, and usually for really good reasons, of course. But in this case, I don't know.
And how much?
It's a mystery to me.
Certainly. How much does the government know? When the UAP task force report came out, it said we know nothing, right? That's what it said. We know it's not us, it's not them. It's going into this other bin. We don't know what's going on, but we've got to find answers. Do you find that truthful, or is the Department of Defense sitting on all of the data?
I think it's absolutely truthful. I don't think they know. I really do. I think they're being truthful in that report. They know they're real, but they don't know what the hell they are.
Well, what do we do?
That's what I think. I could be wrong, and I realize I could be wrong about that. But my gut instinct is no one knows what these things are.
Yeah, certainly.
And I want to be the guy that makes that identification, just so you know. That's why I started the UP expeditions and why we've been out to SoCal. And oh, by the way, I'll make this public. Our first expedition, we went out there and we recorded anomalous data, and the reports are coming out soon in scientific papers.
Now,
Dr. Kevin Knuth and Matthew Zaidagas are doing papers on it right now.
So you guys were in a couple of different locations, right? So you could almost triangulate the data.
Correct. Yeah. We were in 3 different locations.
Yes. See, I know things. Kevin. So
exactly for that reason, so we could triangulate. Yep.
Kevin just smiled.
And one of the scientists that was there with us, he comes up to me later. He says, "I got a question for you, Kev." I said, "What's that?" And I'm not going to say his name. He said, "Do you think these things showed up just because we were here, wanting to find them?" And it kind of stunned me because I was thinking the same thing. I had this feeling that they showed up to acknowledge us, trying to see them. I know that sounds crazy as hell, but I mean, are they there right this second? And there's just no one there to see them? I don't know. But unless they're there all the time, how did we just happen to chance upon them like that if they're only there once a year or so? I don't know.
Yeah, the answer is yes. You answered correctly. You answered correctly that they winked at you, right? That's what went down.
My gut instinct.
Now, I know that these reports are being written up. What about you're at 3 different locations? I'm assuming a couple of things. I don't know how much you can tell me. I'm assuming you're documenting everything. You've got video cameras running.
Oh yeah, we had multiple modalities of data collection going on all at the same time, to include video. But we had magnetometers, gravitometers, listening devices, optics, video, trained observers watching all this stuff, scientists there watching their equipment. I mean, we recorded something, and I can't wait to see these reports. I'm very anxiously looking forward to reading them.
So I'm assuming night vision, infrared, and full color. Have you reviewed the video?
I haven't. And honestly, Jimmy, I've kind of I've avoided even asking them questions. You know why? Because I didn't want to be the one to spill the beans when I wasn't. Because I like to talk about this, so I've purposely kept myself in the dark about some of this until the reports come out, so I'm not the one to screw it up. So
okay, well,
there's lots of questions I have.
Sure, and I'm not asking you to divulge anything, but I'll get it out of you if I can, Kevin. Okay, so were they displaying some of the characteristics that you witnessed back in 2004 that have been spoken about directly by those that were present, including yourself? Has this been captured with those kinds of dynamics? Altitude, changing, direction, speed, appearance.
Did our data collection gear collect that type of data? Yes, it did. Yeah, on our last expedition, it certainly did. Yep.
And what are you guys going to do? I see a movie here. I see a documentary. What are you guys going to do with it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's kind of inevitable, especially if this stuff continues to manifest the way it has been manifesting. At the end of the day here, I definitely see a major movie. I mean, because it's a huge story. I mean, the answer to what this is literally world changing.
What do you do today? I mean, like after the show tonight, do you walk outside and look up at the stars and go, holy crap, man? Okay. I do. Do you do that? Do you look up and just go, what is going on?
I do all the time. You bet I do. And I live in a place on the planet where I live in the country in Southern Oregon and Southwest Southern Oregon. It's really dark here. So we get a beautiful starry night almost, if it's not cloudy. But it's really dark here, so the stars are really out. It's beautiful. So you bet I spend quite a bit of time staring at stars. You bet I do.
Have you made
and wondering what in the world is out there?
You've got a great smile, man, and your eyes are lit up, and I enjoy that part about you. Have you made contact? Have you made contact again? Have you seen stuff on your own?
No, I haven't. Nope.
Have you tried?
I certainly haven't. Not really, no.
Really?
You mean like a CE5 type of thing? Like call them in, that type of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to keep my sanity about this, and I don't want to get all. I was never a quote unquote UFO guy, you know what I mean? And I'm still not. I consider myself pretty normal in that regard. So some of the more of the woo woo stuff, I kind of I've stayed away from it because I didn't want people to confuse my message, because my message here is, and it's still to this day, is safety of flight, man. I mean, that's my training, that's my background, was my original concern, and it remains so today. And the curiosity of what they are, it goes beyond that now, of course. So what were these things, and what does it mean to us?
Do you think?
You tell me.
Yeah, I know. And do you think that the admissions, as cryptic as they have been coming out of the Pentagon and the United States Navy, there's been a certain level of admissions, but there's been also a certain level of expectation from the UFO community, and if not the world in general, about disclosure. Do you see this happening? Is this what we are witnessing? Is this something that the government is about to start to reveal? Is that what is happening?
As soon as they figure out what the heck it is, you asked me this question earlier. I honestly believe they don't know. So what are they going to disclose? The fact they don't know? I think they already just did that. Yeah, so maybe that's the answer. They don't know. And that's exactly what the report said, right?
Yeah, well...
so maybe they're telling the truth.
Lou was on the show earlier talking about the funding for the intelligence bill that just went through. And the language in the bill, which I have the actual bill here. I'm not going to say how I got it, and don't anybody ask for it. You're not going to see it, and I'm not going to send it to you. But the language in that is pretty dramatic, Kevin, where they're talking about if anything is retrieved, any debris from a UAP, that information needs to be shared. And I'm like, what are they saying here? Debris, right? Parts from a UAP, UFO. That's in a funding bill. How crazy is that? Incredible. Yeah.
I think they're scratching their heads like we are. I think they're being absolutely truthful when they say these are real and we don't know what the hell that is. I think my gut instinct is they're telling the truth. I'm not one of these conspiracy nuts and anti-government people. I actually love and support my government. I know it's not a popular thing to say nowadays, but that's who I am. And I actually believe them in this case. I really do. I think they're telling the truth about this. They don't know what these things are.
I've got 1 minute left, Kevin. The obvious question: any interference lately in your life? Men in Black? Anybody reach out to you? Has there been anything strange going on? Maybe to suggest that you keep to yourself?
Quite the opposite. I have been left entirely alone. Now, I've been also very careful about what I say and who I say it to, because as you know, I've been on a number of programs and stuff now, but no, I haven't been bothered by my government. Nope. And I don't believe that I will be bothered by them. I'm a patriot, and I love my government. I know it's not a popular thing to say, but for me, it's true. Yeah,
it's quite all right, my man. That's quite all right. I want to thank you for taking the time to come on tonight, and I want the audience to know when Kevin and I first started talking about this, his excitement about coming on to Fade to Black to just have the opportunity to just lay it all out there, and he just couldn't wait for tonight. And you certainly did not disappoint, Kevin. Thank you so much, my man, and my best to you.
Thank you, and to all your wonderful listeners, thank you for listening to us tonight, and it's been my pleasure and honor, Jimmy.
I can't wait.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what we're going to do next time around, tonight we talked about 50 subjects. The next time you come on, we'll grab one and we'll focus on it and stay right there. And I can't wait for the next conversation, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
And I want you to send me who makes those headphones. You should see what Kevin's wearing. I have never seen anything like this. That's George Lucas, man.
You got it.
I'll talk to you. Kevin Day.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Kevin Day, I'm going to take a quick break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Kevin Day, thank you so much. What a great conversation. And he has got the craziest headphones, lit up stealth, carbon fiber, awesome what was on his head tonight. Thank you so much, Kevin. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
listening to Jimmy Church Will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B blend for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Kevin Day. So much to unpack with that. So much to unpack. Too many things. Just an absolutely great conversation. And then earlier tonight, of course, Lou Elizondo was on with us, speaking about the language in the funding for intelligence in 2022. And those particular comments and those 5 pages in there and the 5 specific blocks that are in this and the language on it is extremely important. And where we are today, and I have to stress this, Kevin Day was at the center of all of this. And where we are today and everything that has transpired, certainly December 2017, the New York Times and Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal, and the revelations that were made on that day. As it turns out, so many witnesses have come forward and have spoken about this. Now, Kevin Day was right there. And to have the opportunity for Kevin to come on Fade to Black and discuss this not only openly, but as a witness to everything that transpired that day. I think it's important. Sorry, something in my throat.
That's why I drink River Moon coffee. In my Fade to Black thermal mug gifted to me from Alisa. Thank you, Alisa. It's hot. It's fresh. It's dark. The importance of Kevin Day, Gary Voorhees, and others that have come forward to support everything that Commander Fravor and Dave Fravor and, of course, Alex Dietrich and others what happened? Oh, don't tell me I'm dropping calls. Okay. All right. That was strange. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Taking calls. 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. This is one of the points that I didn't discuss tonight. Maybe I will at a later date with Kevin. Is these videos, do they represent what the witnesses have talked about? That's the thing. If we didn't have the witnesses, what are the videos? How do they stand? How do they stand up? Right now, let's say we didn't have the videos. Put those to the side. Remember, none of the videos are of the incident that Alex Dietrich and Dave Fravor saw that day. That's not the same incident. And that's important to note here, because what Alex and Dave have talked about, and Chad and Kevin Day, is not in those videos. That's not what we see. We don't see something going from 28,000 feet to sea level in 0.7 seconds. No, we don't see that. We don't see something going from 80,000 feet to 28,000 feet and staging. That's not what's in these videos. So let's be very clear about that. That's not what's in the videos. But do they support each other? So when you bring them all in together, now we have something else and we have a different picture. And I think that is what is most important. I've been very critical about the videos for my own reasons, but that does not in any way. I'm not critical of Dave Fravor. No, he saw what he saw. Alex Dietrich, Chad Underwood, Dave Fravor, Gary Voorhees. These are individuals that went through the incident. Now, before I get to the calls, a couple of things here. Now, this incident, which happened over, obviously, a number of days in November of 2004, this incident has been picked apart, but from one angle. And this is my own assessment. And that's the Dave Fravor, Alex Dietrich, Chad Underwood things. And Chad Underwood going over to the East Coast and recently, and the similarities between them. So we have that part of it, but that's not what is most from today. We now know that 9 or 10 additional flights were launched off of the Nimitz, this is according to Kevin Day, and sent out on the day of the first incident, because there were no flights after that. Yeah, I'm dropping calls, everybody. This is bizarre. I've now brought in about 8 phone calls, and they sit there for just a second. Something's going on in the software. So if you're calling in, I don't know what's going on. I'm watching it come in and blink out, come in and blink out. That 9 or 10 additional flights went out. to go to where these objects are going from 80,000 feet, staging at 28,000 feet, and then going to sea level. There were additional objects out there, and Day is part of the launch of 9 or 10 additional flights to go to these, and that each one of these planes, each one of these fighter jets had to have been running video. That was their job. And Kevin clearly stated, and we have to assume this, and I said this, we have to assume that this is what is going on, that they're all recording video of everything. So it's just not Fravor, and Fravor's video has not been seen. You know, we have to think about this. Fravor's video hasn't been seen. What we have seen is not Fravor's video. So what happened to that? The other additional flights that took off, those 9 or 10, where's that video? Where is it? And why isn't somebody asking? I'm not talking about ATIP. I'm not talking about UAPTF. I'm talking about our elected officials. Why aren't they demanding? If this is part of the record and all of this happened, where's the video? Where is Fravor's video? Where's Alex Dietrich's video? It exists. And there's no way that it got deleted. We didn't need it. It wasn't interesting. It doesn't exist. No, that video's out there. A lot of it. Hours and hours and hours and hours of video. Need to think about it in those terms. I'm perplexed. Perplexed. You know, I mean, it's like the obvious for anybody out there. The first thing you're going to say, wait a minute, 9 or 10 flights, more objects that day. Fravor's out there, Dietrich's out there. This stuff is dropping out of the sky. We've got fighter jets, F-18s, launching off of the Nimitz, filming all of this. Where's the video? That's the first thing that anybody's going to ask. Why isn't somebody on the Senate Intelligence Committee publicly, saying, why isn't somebody on Tucker, why isn't Tucker asking that? Why? I don't get it. I mean, am I just stating the obvious here? All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Oh, oops, that was me. All right, let's try this again. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Somebody on Tucker. Why is it?
Okay.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Deb.
Mute me in the background.
You're muted.
Okay.
You're muted. You're muted.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I had like 8 calls in front of you, and they all, as I brought them in, they pinged out. That's because I have special powers, Jimmy. Okay, stay right
there. You know that by now?
Okay, Deb, stay right there. Don't go anywhere. I'm testing this software. Everything's lighting up. Let's see if this stays right there. I'm going to put you on hold. Do not go anywhere. Okay. All right. Let's see if those calls hold. Okay, I'm back, Deb. I'm testing.
And your bunker cam's off. Why don't you turn that on?
The bunker cam's off? Nah, I'll leave it off.
It has been.
It's off?
It has been.
What do you mean?
Yes, it's been off since you came back on, hon.
I don't know. I don't know these things.
Look at it.
That's in another part of the studio. I'm here. Okay.
YouTube chat.
Okay.
YouTube chat. Tell Jimmy. Okay. YouTube chat. It's been off.
Deb. That's bad radio. That's bad. I don't have the YouTube chat up. I don't have that up. Okay. So anyway, what's going on? Oh, thank you for thank you for the sunglasses. They're very cool.
You're welcome. I have a master plan for those. So those are to make you very, very rich. Because when you go to these secret meetings at conferences and things, you can be taping people and have tons of blackmail video on the very rich ones that are there, if there are any. because there's not a lot of money in this business. Right. There you go. Now I see you. And, you can use those to be very stealthy and use them for very nefarious purposes. And that's my plan here. What do you think about that?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Are you still talking? Are you still talking? What did you say? No, I'm kidding. I walked away. I have stuff going on. Okay, so anyway, and thank you for these. This is I'm holding them up to the camera. These are the Wayfarer stories, and very difficult to open this box. By the way, I was going to do an unboxing video today, and that would have been really bad because it's like Fort Knox. Anyway, so I did open them up. I'm showing them now to the camera. So this is very nice. I've got lots of Ray-Ban cases. I've got many pairs of Ray-Bans. Nothing quite as cool as this. And there they are. I'm holding them up to the camera. I don't know if
yeah, I saw it. I just saw it. Yeah.
Okay, so there they are.
Good.
And now the glasses themselves, I mean, you can't, honestly, unless you know what you're looking for, you're not going to see the cameras. So I'm holding them up. There's a camera here, and there's a camera there. I haven't booted these up yet. I know that there's software and things, but I will get active with these very soon and get them all set up, and we'll see how these things work. Very nice.
We want to see some compelling blackmail videos on camera.
Well, and we shall do that for sure. It was really weird today. I got and after my post today, before I got like six birthday gifts came in the mail today, and all but one had a birthday card. And so I got no return addresses. I got nothing. They're just showing up. And I was just like, what? So now I got to post a series of tweets tomorrow. And I couldn't do it on Facebook because Facebook was down today. But, some people don't use Twitter, so they don't know what I said. But I've got to, okay, who sent me what? Just tell me what you sent. I can't say what was sent. I can't do that. Right. I got to be all cryptic and like I did with the sunglasses. But you clearly were the senders of those because I saw your tweet, and that was pretty funny. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was eventually originally it was going to be that UFO lamp, but what was his name? Marco or
Ramon? Ramon is amazing.
Beat me to it.
Yeah, Ramon is amazing.
Yeah, he brought him to the Pasadena thing, right? The premiere.
Yes. Yeah. I think yes.
So
yes.
He beat me to it, but the thing you don't know, I've got connections, so I got those for half off. So I decided to take advantage of it. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to fire these up, and we shall see. I'm serious, man. If I'm walking around in a public place with those on, nobody's gonna know. Nobody. Now, if I'm sitting next to somebody and they're looking at me, I don't know. They might be able to figure it out. But no, they are definitely clandestine. You know what they would be really good for is live streaming while you're driving or riding a motorcycle or walking through a crowd or anything like that. So you get the first person POV point of view. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty
perfect.
cool.
Well, I've got a blue. I got a blue pair. I ordered myself a blue pair. So when I come to Laughlin, my friend goes, "You got to wear yours at Laughlin." And then when you walk in, you'll figure out. He won't know who you are because you and I haven't met in person yet. We'll see who can film whom secretly first. And I can definitely.
So that's your plan. Okay. All right.
Well. I mean, my plan has many facets, Jimmy.
Okay.
But in lieu of, I didn't get to send you a card with it because was just jacked up. They wouldn't let you send it as a gift. They wouldn't let you include a message. Facebook sucks. So, but anyway, so I sent you an email to substitute for it. You can check that out later.
Okay.
But anyway.
Well,
so
thank you for
I'm glad
this.
you enjoy them.
Thank you for this, and I will make sure that somebody at Laughlin hangs a sign on your back when you don't know that says, "I'm secretly taping everybody," and you're going to walk around getting funny stares from people. So I'll take care of that.
Yeah, you'll try to get Eric to do it, but I can see him coming a mile away because he's like 6-7 feet tall or something. No one's going to get me. I'm way too fast.
Okay.
So good luck with that.
I have my ways. Deb, enjoy the rest of your night,
Sure you
and
do.
thank you for the
Hey,
amazing
real quick,
birthday
thanks
gift.
You're welcome, honey. And anyone who hasn't taken that bunker cam tour, your bunker tour, I watched it. It was fantastic. You guys, if you haven't seen it, you got to go tour it. It's amazing. So there you go.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you for the
yeah.
birthday. And
You're welcome, hon.
see you tomorrow.
Okay, and good night, Fader Not.
Deb from
Bye.
Sacramento. It's time to fade to black. Thank you, Deb. And very, very, very cool gift from her and from everybody that sent things today. I mean, it was just like, wow, I'm overwhelmed. Very, very cool. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Oh, Jimmy.
Yes.
This is Pat Strat.
This is Pat Strat. Oh, hey, Pat. How you doing?
How you doing?
What's on your mind?
One call tonight.
Okay.
As far as all those videos, I think they know. Just figuring out how to do it.
What do you mean?
Well, nobody's talking. I think the government's trying to figure out how they're going to do it. Disclosure is important.
Yes, it is.
Okay?
Yes, it is. Continue.
And what I'm saying is, if these things are here or have been here, they're playing with the military, and maybe it's just hypothetical. It says, well, we're here, so what are you going to do about it? So it kind of leaves, in my opinion, leaves us as a planet of sheep, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And thank you for the phone call, Pat. My comment on that is this. I don't agree with Kevin on one point, and for others that have said the same thing, including the government, that the government is still trying to figure this out, and they don't know what's going on. They have been filming and photographing and collecting data on UFOs for over 70 years. The Tic-Tac and the Go Fast and the gimbal videos are crap. Crap. They show nothing. They are sitting on data that they have collected both on film, on video, on still cameras for decades. They've got all kinds of stuff and everything that goes with it. Got all the eyewitness testimony. I'm not talking about just the military. The military's got tons of stuff. But you have NASA, you have other footage that has been shot. You have satellites. You have all of that radar data. Not only in a modern context, like a 2020 context, 2015, 2010. You got radar data going back to at least 1952. They've got that data from Washington, D.C. 3 different radar stations. Washington, D.C. They've got all of that data. They scrambled jets in 1952. They've got this stuff, and they have been collecting it for a very, very, very long time. The real stuff. So for the government to say that they know nothing, they know a lot. In fact, they probably know everything. They know everything as far as what is behind their contact. They do. They do. They know. Now, do they know everything about every extraterrestrial civilization in the Milky Way? No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, it's tens of millions of civilizations, if not billions, just in our Milky Way. Does the government collect data on billions of ETCs? No, it's impossible. But they know what's going on. They know ET is visiting us. They've made contact. For the language in that spending bill, the budget, the intelligence budget for 2022, for the language in that bill to clearly state, well, we've got to study and disclose and make aware and report on any debris from any UAPs. What? Debris? So where did that language come from? The language came from they have debris and haven't been sharing the knowledge. Sharing that data. That's why the language is in there. It's not about, well, in the future, if we, if a UAP crashes, then we need to, we collect, the debris. We need to, that's not what that language is in there for. Language is in there because they know that stuff has been collected in the past. We have crash retrievals. We have this stuff, and nobody talked about it. Nobody has made that public. The Senate didn't know about it. The Department of Defense didn't know about it. That's my point. That's why that language is in there. The language being in this budget about injuries to people that come in contact with UAPs, where does that language come? It's because it's happened. And nobody has talked about it before. The reporting hasn't been there. They've kept this stuff secret. That's why the language is in there. There's another part in this, which I find fascinating, which it says we need to share information with our allies. We need to open up that channel of communication with them. Why is that in there? Because that information has been collected from allies but not shared. Nobody knew about it. Certain agencies are going out there and collecting this information and not talking to the Senate, not talking back to the military. They're sitting on this. Well, now that is going to be illegal. That this two-channel communication, when it happens, needs to be reported and documented. These are huge steps. Now, the effectiveness of this, how much of it is going to actually happen? How easy is it to implement? Well, the Secretary of Defense says that he's going to have control of it, he or she. I believe that's the language. I didn't want to go and read directly from the budget, but I will at a certain point. I think that it has passed, and so is it public yet? I don't know. So there you go. Yes, I have it, and I don't want to get in trouble. So we'll sit on that. With that, I want to thank everybody tonight for coming in and hanging out with us. Thank you, Pat Strat. That was a great phone call right there. Thank you so much. I want to thank Lou Elizondo again, coming in from an undisclosed location to hang out here on Fade to Black to talk about all of this. It's a very fluid breaking situation right now as we move forward, and it's very cool. I just want to make sure that it gets enforced. That's the thing. You can put it in writing. We can discuss it. It's all interesting. How effective is it? It is a big step to turn around and dissolve the UAP task force and bring in another group. That's got to get named, and that's got to be public too as well, right? We need to know what's going on. Very interesting. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldridge. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Drew Banky, right here tomorrow night. Plant Medicines and E.T. It don't get no better. But until then, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.